As we begin our final topic talk series right here with the World War I, World War II unit, or 20th Century Wars unit, we're going to talk about World War II and its role in really being a cause and effect event for even future conflicts. So let's take a look. The master plan by totalitarian leaders is often executed with cunning, skill, and subtleness. The leaders of Europe prior to World War II follow that path. Hitler follows this model. He establishes many protections prior to unleashing his war machine. Germany is going to oppose itself through occupation and annexation in places like the Rhineland, bordering Germany and France, Austria, and even Czechoslovakia. Each time, attitudes of European leaders of appeasement, which we've talked about before, or by those responsible, is going to disallow the accountability that's going to empower Germany to go forward. So really just kind of saying, don't do that again, Hitler, really just empowers him to continue his march, his plan. With the threats of an offensive military action in the air again, nations of the world begin choosing sides. There's your alliance system being put into place. Or sometimes attempting to be neutral, as the United States would try to claim. Germany's behavior is based on claims of nationalism and the needs of economic improvement, so they're justifying their behaviors. The final piece to Hitler's puzzle prior to the bold moves of war would be the non-aggression pact signed with the USSR. It would be a promise to Russia that an invasive expansion into Poland would not be a prelude to action versus the Soviet Union. Basically, let's both take Poland from both sides, meet in the middle, and not hurt each other. This brings up the problem of Hitler's actions not matching his words. In his previous book, Mein Kampf, which is part autobiography, part plan for world domination, which is he writes during his prison time in the early 20s, he would write that the Slavic peoples of Russia were really natural enemies to the Germans, while Anglo-Saxons, with their German ancestry, people of Great Britain really, are the natural allies. This provides explanation for his choices as the world war is going to unfold. Determining the start of the war is like always in history. It depends on where you look. If you look in Europe, you're probably going to select September 1st, 1939 with the invasion of Poland. A more eastern look at World War II probably comes with either Japan's invasion of Manchuria in 1931 or the all-out Sino-Japanese War of 1937. Nonetheless, the massive and mechanized invasion of Poland is a huge event. This is the Blitzkrieg, lightning warfare. The German advance was so impressive it overmatched the Poles. This theme is repeated as the Germans finally do the same to France in the summer of 1940. From September 1939 to June of 1940, Europe has really been turned upside down by German aggression. The speed and success traps Allied forces at the coastal town of Dunkirk on the English Channel, leaving behind all of their equipment and supplies. The British and Allies successfully escape. Though the plan to invade Great Britain now seems very successful as they're most vulnerable, Germans do not execute what is known as Operation Sea Lion. Instead, Hitler hands over the attempt to take Great Britain through the air to his very dominant air force, the Luftwaffe, trying to make the British submit. Remember his theories on natural enemies and allies. Makes perfect sense now. The attempt to bomb Great Britain into surrender is thwarted very simply by technology. The British have radar as well as the ability to throw counter signals in the air, giving German bombers false signals for where to drop their bombs. Plus a committed leadership from Winston Churchill, who rallies British around the spirit of nationalism. Remember the keep calm and carry on signs that would be posted throughout England as early as 1939. So where is the U.S. in all of this? Seeing the impending dangers, United States President Franklin Delano Roosevelt attempts to commit U.S. support to capitalist democracy French like Great Britain, through events like the Atlantic Charter and, of course, the Lend-Lease Act. The Americans will gain a lot of criticism internally from congressional members for this Lend-Lease Act because basically it's like lending somebody a piece of gum. Here's something that you can use We're going to lend you some battleships. We're going to lend you some bullets. We're going to lend you some supplies. You're going to return the favor if you can. And then there was obviously opportunities to lease military bases in exchange for that. This is tricky because the United States is committed to neutrality and not wanting to experience the atrocities of World War again. And you also have the Great Depression. Many people were like, we still got our own problems. There's no need to jump into a world affair again. Unable to force British surrender, the Germans will move on to invade Russia in what is called Operation Barbarossa in the summer of 1941. Hoping surprise will be their advantage, they are unable to finish the task before the winter. Stalin goes into hiding, rallies the people of Russia with the call to let's all fight for Mother Russia. Doesn't mention anything about the Soviet Union, but tries to rally the Russian nationalism to be the force that would help them defeat German advance. So repeated attempts are made, and they're not very realistic. And then you actually even have some poor decisions by Hitler at places like Stalingrad, trying to take almost an untakeable position there because of tactics used by the Russians. Really starts to spell an end or a doom for this German plan rather to dominate Europe.